It's just gone 6:30 and you're watching East Midlands Today. Tonight, how a £48 million investment aims to help cut NHS waiting lists.
A new treatment centre's opened in Leicester, seeing its first patients, promising an extra 100,000 appointments a year.
A vigil is held over the loss of the doctor's surgery in this village, the latest public amenity to go here.
In sport, it's not even Christmas, and already the manager here at Derby County is calling tonight's match crucial.
Here at De Montfort Hall in Leicester, the cast of Snow White are making sure it will all go right on the night.
High five! Bum bum! Yes, Snow White!
Hello, welcome to Friday's East Midlands Today with me, Sarah Hawley. First tonight, action to cut NHS waiting lists. A new £48 million centre in Leicester has been treating its first patients this week. Well, it comes as the latest waiting list data reveals more than 500,000 people are waiting to start NHS treatment here in the East Midlands. Now, the main target has always been to treat most patients, in fact 92% of them, within 18 weeks of referral. But that's been missed for years. And in the East Midlands and Leicester, only 57% of people are actually seen in that time frame. Our health correspondent Rob Sissons reports from Leicester.
The first patients have been using the new NHS treatment centre this week at Leicester General. It's in the refurbished former mental health Brandon unit. And among them, Matt, about to have a procedure for a perforated eardrum. He'd waited 10 months to see a specialist. Now things are finally moving.
Really good. I'm glad it all sorted for Christmas. Don't know if I'll still be on recovery, but yeah, I thought it'd be way into next year before I got seen.
Because you didn't have a timescale?
No, I asked the specialist and he said the waiting list is that long, he can't advise when it'll be.
Latest figures reveal over 13,000 patients waiting over a year to start hospital treatment across the East Midlands. More than 1,900 of them at Leicester hospitals, even more at Nottingham and Derby and Burton. The centre's got its work cut out.
Well, to reduce queuing at reception, for those that want to, they can check in on these kiosks. You see these a lot in GP surgeries these days. Tap of a button, lots of different languages there, and you can get on your way.
At the end of the first week, the number of patients through the doors will be increased. The ultimate aim is for around 100,000 extra outpatient appointments, day surgery operations and procedures here in the first year, a 7% increase in capacity at Leicester's hospitals.
It's been a really busy week, it's been really exciting as well. So we've seen 650 patients through the doors this week. So we've started off a little slower than we would usually, and it allows the team to build up to get to that 100,000 patients a year when we're fully open.
It's his eyes Tony is having treated. Ophthalmology is one of 9 specialities here.
It's a damaged optic nerve. They can't repair it, all they can do is control it. And that's what the injections are. It pumps my eye back up.
It's been really, really good to finally open and to get the patients through the door. It's a lot of hard work to get here and a lot of teamwork to all come together to make the unit run.
This centre was conceived under the last government. Cutting NHS waits is one of the main priorities of the new one. Rob Sissons, BBC East Midlands Today, Leicester.
Well, Rob joins us now. I mean, obviously you said there the aim is to make a dent in waiting lists. Just how effective will it be?
Well, it will make some impact, but the pressure is really on to hit that target that you mentioned at the very start of the programme, to get people seen and treated within 18 weeks of referral, and that's been missed for about 10 years now. A key pledge of the new government is to hit that by the end of this Parliament, and they know they'll be judged on it.
I mean, this comes at a good time, doesn't it? Obviously, winter pressures, it's that time of year. How are we faring in the East Midlands?
Well, the emergencies are ramping up. Clearly, they're a priority, and this is always the worry. How do you prevent routine surgery from being cancelled because of an influx of emergencies. That's what that facility we've seen in Leicester's all about. It's ring-fenced. And on Monday's programme, we'll be going to Nottingham City Hospital to see what's being done there to try and make sure that the inroads into the waiting list aren't derailed this winter.
Oh, interesting. Rob, thank you. We'll look forward to that on Monday. Thanks very much. Well, while £48 million has been invested in that treatment centre just down the road in Evington, patients have lost their doctor's surgery. It impacts around 900 people who today held a vigil to mark its closure, the third public amenity to go in their village, as Amy Payne reports.
A silent protest over the loss of a village surgery. After decades serving people in Evington, today this practice closed for good. Around 900 patients will be transferred to another site more than 2 miles away.
We're here today because we wanted to make sure the NHS and GPs understand the strength of feeling in this area. There's hundreds of patients who are going to have to travel 2.6 miles, catch 4 buses to go and see their GP. It's totally unacceptable.
Leaders at the Leicestershire and Rutland Integrated Care Board say the closure comes after the practice made it aware the landlord was selling the premises, and it'll support patients with the transition to the new site. But Anne won't be going there.
I need to have something that I can walk to, or that I can get a bus easily to. And the practice that they advised me to sign on to, Netherall Road, is 2 buses away, which is 1 bus into town and 1 bus out again. And I think that's too much for me to do.
And Ursula tells me the new location will prove a logistical headache for her.
This is making my life more complicated at a period in my life when I need to be there for other people and help other members of my family. I can't cope with my own things. This is not right.
The doctor's surgery isn't alone. This pharmacy was the first community amenity to close last month for financial reasons, and the post office will go in January. Instead, customers are asked to travel about a mile if they want to pick up a prescription or a stamp. Chris has to visit the pharmacy regularly and fears the closures could lead to a ghost village.
We just don't want to see a load of boarded up property in the village. It's not what we came for. It's not what we live here for. We're a good community. We're a strong community, and it's gradually being eroded by lack of amenities.
The strength of feeling here is clear. With the loss of 3 key amenities, the question many ask is what next? Amy Payne, BBC East Midlands Today, Evington.
Next tonight, a Nottingham care home's been placed in special measures after inspectors ruled it wasn't providing enough care to keep people safe. Families also complained their loved ones were neglected and left dirty at Kingsthorpe View in St Anne's. It's the latest in a number of homes there to have been given the lowest rating of inadequate. Well, our reporter Carolyn Moses is in the newsroom and can tell us more. Carolyn, what exactly has this report said?
Well, Sarah, the findings from the Care Quality Commission actually make grim reading. It made an unannounced visit to Kingsthorpe View in July and says it found breaches of legal standards in 4 areas: safe care and treatment, personalised care, staffing levels and the way the home was managed. Despite the home being aimed at older people and those with dementia, the CQC found there were insufficient staff to protect people from the risk of harm. For example, it found repeated cases of residents falling, but no fall prevention plans. Inspectors themselves had to step in twice when a communal lounge was left unsupervised. The home was not dementia friendly. It was also not clean and hygienic. And it found people were at risk of neglect. Relatives had complained of finding their loved ones with dirty hair and nails. And inspectors found one person left for hours soaked in urine. A bedbound patient had no call bell. They also found residents were not offered physical activities because there simply weren't enough staff.
I mean, it sounds fairly horrifying, doesn't it? So what happens now? What does this mean?
Well, the home is now in special measures, which means regular monitoring and further action if there aren't improvements. And there have been 3 other care homes in Nottinghamshire where that's happened in recent weeks. Bramcote Hills in Bramcote, Stonyford in Sutton in Ashford and Charnwood Care Home in Carlton. The CQC hasn't responded to questions of whether there are increasing cases. And when approached by the BBC, privately run Kingsthorpe View declined to comment.
OK, Carolyn, thank you for that. Renewable energy projects in the East Midlands got a boost today, with the government announcing plans to add more green energy to the national grid. Currently, some renewable energy proposals are waiting years for approval to connect to the grid. Now, the ones which are ready to go will be able to jump the queue. And big onshore wind farms will be labelled as national infrastructure, so they're more likely to go ahead. But a county councillor for Lincolnshire is worried local people won't be consulted.
We're inundated with national infrastructure projects. So, we want an open and transparent conversation with government. We want to actually ensure that we have a county that survives intact, but also plays a part in the future transition that government might want. But it should be done at a pace that is acceptable to our communities, and it should be something that must win the support of our local people.
Well, there'll be lots more discussion about wind farms on Politics East Midlands, and that's on BBC One on Sunday morning at 10 o'clock. Next tonight, how thorough is the police investigation into the cold case of Alfred Swinscoe, the 54-year-old who went missing from a pub in Derbyshire back in 1967. You may remember his remains were eventually found in a field in Sutton-in-Ashfield last year. Well, now a BBC investigation looks into the case, as Nicola Gilroy reports.
I looked at the socks and I had this incredible flashback. It was shouting at me as saying, "You've wore these socks as a boy."
He'd been missing for more than 50 years, but Alfred Swinscoe's remains were identified last year by his grandson.
I was kind of shocked and relieved and proud of myself because I'd found Grandad. After all these years, I'd found him.
A missing person case then became a murder investigation, and in August, police revealed they'd identified 2 people who, if alive, would be brought in for questioning.
We're just talking, next thing, bang.
We've discovered just a year before Alfred was killed, one of those suspects carried out a brutal attack on this man.
My maple, please. All right, on the floor, I didn't wear a war.
John Shawcroft spent 2 weeks in hospital with serious head injuries. These were similar to some of those inflicted on Alfred. Although his attacker is a police suspect in the murder of Alfred Swinscoe, John says police have not spoken to him.
It was so strange. Why would anybody say that to you?
The BBC has also spoken to Fred Webster. He says the suspect took him for a drive past where Alfred's remains would later be found. It was in the late 60s and around the time Alfred went missing.
He said something like, "These woods on the right-hand side, you could soon hide somewhere up there." Yeah, he did. But I never thought nothing of it, you know what I mean? Of course you wouldn't. Why would you?
He told me he responded to a police appeal earlier this year to give this information.
So I said, "You don't want to know who I think did it then?" And he says, "No, put phone down."
I shared all this with Alfred's grandson, Russell.
What does it mean to you to find these answers?
Well, it means everything. They put an appeal out there for the public to help, and to me, they're just snubbing them from what that chap experienced.
We know Alfred was a friend of the suspect, but we don't know for sure what other information the police might have. The evidence we've found is circumstantial.
We've established both suspects were known to Alfred Swinscoe, but we've decided not to name them to protect their surviving family.
In a statement, Nottinghamshire police said they had left no stone unturned to find Alfred's killer or killers and will continue to look at all new and existing avenues. They added Alfred's family remain at the heart of everything we do.
Well, Nicola's with me now. I mean, this is a fascinating case, isn't it? And I understand that there's been an update following your investigation, which showed that potential witnesses haven't been spoken to.
Yes, Nottinghamshire police got in touch last night to update their statement. After the BBC contacted them, they said they have now spoken to John Shawcroft and they've apologised to Fred Webster, both of whom you saw in my report. They say that those two witnesses have now been interviewed. They say what they had to tell them was really useful, but they haven't explained, the police, why it took so long to speak to John Shawcroft in the first place and why they hung up on Fred Webster. But you can watch the full story. It's in the documentary called The Odd Socks Murder. It's on tonight on BBC One at 7:30, or you can catch it on the iPlayer as well.
Brilliant. The Odd Socks Murder.
Yes.
Nicola, thank you for that. And if you want to read more about Nicola's investigation, then you can go online to the BBC News website where you can read the full story. Search on BBC News or via the BBC News app. Now, have you seen the movie Wicked yet? Now, don't worry, no spoilers are coming if you haven't. But if you have, you may have spotted some very interesting lamps they used, which were made actually by a couple from Derbyshire. Sian Filcher has more.
Every part of these lamps made in the UK, and now they've appeared in one of the top grossing films of 2024.
Listen to me. You can do anything.
There's lots of different lamps made by Ashby Lighting, but these are the stars of the show. They're called the Witch's Hat pendants, and purely by coincidence, there's one for Elphaba and one for Glinda.
I mean, you look at them, the green one, I know you've got different colours, but the green one looks perfect for Wicked. It's almost as if you've made it for that film, but that's not the case.
No, not at all.
Complete coincidence. And it's so we'd been selling that for a couple of years or more, and we still sell it today.
Rachel and Martin say they weren't initially aware the order was for Wicked. In total, they supplied around 60 lamps and a chandelier. It wasn't until someone came to collect that chandelier that they found out who it was for.
We was asking him and he said, yeah, it's for the new Wicked film. We had the order, that was 2 years ago. Kind of forgot about it. And then obviously when Wiki came out and all the hype came out, we said, oh, well our lights must be in that.
Now you've seen the kind of hype around this film.
Yeah.
What do you think of your little lights behind you being in that big film?
It's quite surreal, to be honest.
It's a privilege, to be quite honest with you.
And it's an amazing film. It's visually, it's stunning.
Did you kind of sit there watching the film going,
Of course you did.
Where's the light?
Of course we did, yeah, of course we did. And there's obviously lots of lights in the film as well. And it's literally the last 15
we don't
minutes.
Want to give
we're not going to spoil us, but it was literally the last 15 minutes where everything kicks off.
The Emerald City.
Is where it all is. So where the wizard lives, and that's where all our lights are.
Sian Filcher, BBC East Midlands Today, Melbourne.
They're really beautiful, aren't they? Now it's time for sport, as you may have gathered. Colin's headed off to Pride Park this evening because it's a very big match for the Rams, isn't it, tonight?
Oh yes, and you don't just have to take my word for it either, because the Derby County manager Paul Warne has admitted this match is crucial even at this early stage of the season. Derby have only got one win in their last 11 matches. They sit 17th. Portsmouth are 21st, just above the relegation zone on goal difference. It is only December, but with just one win in 2 months, Warne is certainly not playing this one down.
It is a big game. You do want to win. We do need a win, obviously, as all teams do. But we do need a win. We do need a good home performance. And coming into the Christmas period, it'd be great if we could get this win. It's been a tough little mini run. Obviously, 3 games in 6 days. I just think it's too early to start looking at who you're competing with in a nice way. But I'm also aware that every home game is crucial.
Well, big statements there from Paul Warne. Is he right? Well, let's find out from an expert, shall we? Martin Wagon, former Derby County striker, still keenly watches the Rams. Listen, you don't often get managers building up a match like this. Is he right to do it, do you think?
Yeah, I think I can understand it in terms of where the both teams are in the league. I think it's a kind of going to be a bit of a statement game in terms of if we can get the win, we can kind of build some distance from where they are. First and foremost, let's get the win on the board from the run that we've been on. So I get why he's done it. At home, it's a team that's just come up, so I think we need to try and emphasise the win.
You mentioned being at home there. How important is this place? I mean, 5 wins overall, 4 have come here. Is this place crucial?
Yeah, it's crucial. Like, I've been here myself playing these games, and these are the games that you want to play in. Evening game, the fans behind you, yeah, they're so important, and they kind of emphasise everything that we do as a club, so yeah.
So obviously Derby and Portsmouth, promotion rivals last season to come up from League One. It's a bit weird to see them battling at the bottom a little bit more.
Yeah, it is. It is, but it's understandable. It's difficult coming back into the Championship. It's a tough league to come into in terms of if you haven't got the capability to challenge the ones at the top. So it's understandable. Nobody wants to be there, but it's set to be a good game.
OK, well, stay there for a second because we want to talk some more. But away from here, there are a couple of beefy games to look ahead to in the Premier League. We heard from Leicester's manager, Ruud van Nistelrooy, on the programme yesterday. So this evening is the turn of the Forest boss, Nuno Espirito Santo, who's been talking about his club's European aspirations. Yes, really. That's because Forest are 5th in the Premier League. That would be good enough for your Europa League spot if they stayed there. As we've already said, it is not even halfway through the season yet. But all the talk at this week's press conference was about whether Forest were ready for Europe next year.
I think we have a good platform of an ambition to grow and improve. And we are creating something. I really believe that we are trying to build something together, something nice, that can allow us to compete. This is what we have to look at.
Well, let's have a look at all the fixtures then. Mansfield Town, they've lost their last 5 games in League One there at Charlton. The list also includes Notts County, not won since October in League Two. They are off to Salford City. Away from football, Rugby Union's Leicester Tigers welcome the South African side Sharks to Welford Road tomorrow evening. That's their second match in the group stages of the Champions Cup. They lost to Bordeaux last week. Captain Julian Montoya returns to action after injury. And in ice hockey, it's going to be an emotional weekend for Nottingham Panthers. They're actually playing this evening at Manchester, but the attention will be on tomorrow's match at home to Fife Flyers. That's when they're going to retire the shirt of their player, Adam Johnson. Johnson, of course, died on the ice while playing for the Panthers. Right, let's wrap things up here at Derby County with another quick chat to our guest, Martin Waghorn. Derby looked really solid at the start of this season. How worried should the fans be about the recent record?
I don't think it's too much cause for concern. I think obviously getting the promotion, you kind of live on the high for a little bit. It's always going to be important how well we started, and obviously crucially now it's important that we've got those points on the boards. But it's a tough period, so we need to just battle through, keep going, and hopefully try and start and get a little run.
You're an old head. You'll have been here before. How do clubs, how do dressing rooms turn it around once those losing runs start?
It's all about your players and how much of a close-knit squad you are. And the lads in there, they're fantastic. I've been in that dressing room, I know what it's all about, but you need to rely on your experienced players, sticking in one another. And it's all about hard work and graft for each other, and they've got that in abundance. Is
it about characters? Do they need a Martin Waghorn? Do they need that style?
No, I think there's a few of them in there already. So, no, it's just about kind of getting on the pitch, working for each other, sticking to your game plan, and then let the football take care of itself.
Thanks so much for coming to join us this evening. We really appreciate it. If you want more of Martin Waghorn, he is on BBC Radio Derby this evening when they have full match coverage of Derby County against Portsmouth. But from here, for now, that's all your sport.
Oh, brilliant. Colin, thank you so much. Now, with just a couple of weeks until Christmas, we are fully entering into Panto season right here in the East Midlands.
Oh, no, we're not.
Oh, yes, we are. We've popped down to Leicester to see how they've been getting ready for opening night this evening, as Helen McCarthy reports.
Oh, no, she doesn't.
Oh, yes, she does.
This is Leicester's biggest panto. There are more than 50 people involved in the production of Snow White here at De Montfort Hall. Come with me. They've got to get it right on the night.
Hey up, me ducks. Welcome to De Montfort Hall. Are you ready for the big night? I hope so. Come on, follow me and I'll show you around. This way.
Around 1,000 people will be in the audience tonight to watch the stars on stage.
Come on.
But will they be ready?
Where is my apple? I brought you oranges, Your Majesty.
They're no good, are they? Spirit of the mirror,
I need to speak to you.
Why?
Where's my apple?
I gave one to Snow White and I ate one.
Nora, I need that apple for tonight's performance. Now, go!
On it like a car bonnet, Your Majesty.
Boom, 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 boom. Fist bump, ghost, blowfish, blowfish. High five, bum bum. Yes, Snow White.
Yes, Muddles. Oh, fantastic, you two. You've got the handshake down. I've got the apple.
You're right, Nanny Nora, and it's time to start the show.
Let's go. Muddles,
yeah.
This way.
Now it's time to start the show.
Well, they're definitely warmed up and ready to go for the opening night that marks Christmas in Leicester. Helen McCarthy, BBC East Midlands Today, Leicester.
Now, where is that apple?
So much backstage drama and so many divas. Not quite like that behind the scenes here at East Midlands Today, Anna.
No, definitely not, Sarah. And thankfully, we don't have the costume changes either.
Yeah.
Now, weather-wise, there hasn't been much drama this week after what was very dramatic last weekend. And we haven't got snow in the forecast either. So I thought I'd share this little snowman with you from Clumber Park. And also, as we go through today, we've held on to a lot of cloud, mist and fog. But things are changing a little bit over the weekend. In fact, tomorrow there's some beautiful winter sunshine around, so I'd love to see your pictures if you'd like to join in, bbc.co.uk/weather watchers. So across the weekend, Saturday is looking like the better day out of the two, dry, bright and settled. Sunday, the temperatures will increase, so it's a mild day, but we will see the increase in cloud and there might just be a spot of rain out there, but it should be largely dry. So briefly over the next 24 hours, the cold front sweeps through, so clearer skies and some sunshine, but then a warm front pushes through as we head into Sunday, and that's going to bring in a warmer air mass, and on those west to southwesterly winds, temperatures will be on that rise, so much milder conditions through Sunday and into next week, for much of next week actually. But out there at the moment, we've still got all that cloud and gloom, producing some spots of light rain and drizzle in places. And that's how it's remaining tonight as that cold front begins to sweep southeastwards. Lows of 4 degrees Celsius, slightly stronger winds, but I still think we will see some mist and fog in places tonight. But that will lift quickly tomorrow morning. That front clears away and there will be that brightening of those skies. There will be some high level cloud around, so sunshine hazy at times and a little bit more in the way of cloud there out towards the west. So, but for all of us, it does look like a brighter day. Highs of 8 degrees Celsius, perhaps maybe quite a chilly night, Saturday night into Sunday. But then Sunday, as that warmer air moves in, that milder conditions, we see the return of quite a bit of cloud. I do think it will break at times to see some bright spells, but temperatures up around 12 degrees Celsius. And we stay fairly settled as we go through Monday and Tuesday. Bit of a question mark as we go into the middle of next week. But on the whole, temperatures up and a more settled weekend this weekend than last.
Oh, it'd be nice to see some sunshine as well, Anna, won't it? Thank you. That's all from us this Friday evening. Mel will keep you up to date with the late news and across the weekend from the whole team here. Bye-bye.